Our show is brought to you by Barreto Home Solutions, Bayou Audio and Video, Hot Works on the North Shore, JFK Martial Arts in Mandeville and Covington, Black Hawk Hauling, Lil Dizzy's Cafe, Wags Food and Culture, Moe's Pizza, The Green Law Firm, Personal Injury Attorney, Drums Earwear.
Hands up, hands up. If you winning and you don't give a fuck about a hater, tell them move, 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 move. Cause I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. 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 Hands up, hands up. If you winning and you don't give a fuck about a hater, tell them move, 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 move. Cause I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning. I'm winning, I'm winning, I'm winning.
Yeah, what it do, baby? It's your boy, the one and only JB, the sports guy. Welcome to the Hash It Out Show. We got a great show for y'all tonight. Joining us in a little bit, in about 10 minutes, we're going to have the one, the only, the host of After Further Review on ESPN Radio throughout the entire state of Louisiana, the one and only Matt Moscona. We're going to talk strictly LSU football today with him. Now, with that being said, you all know I cannot do this without my co-hosts. And you can catch both of them on CrescentCitySports.com. We start with the one and only Mr. VK Jones. What's happening, VK?
What's going on, man? Like, tag, share, and subscribe to the Hash It Out Show. All social media platforms. We're live on Facebook, live on YouTube, and Instagram. And log on to the hashitout.show.com. And you thought we fell off? No, we're here. It's a couple weeks away from football season. We're getting ready. We're getting ready. So I hope you're in for a good one. We got a great show tonight. Great show all week. We got 3 shows this week, ladies and gentlemen. Tune in.
And we got the one and only GP himself, George Peppers. What's up, GP?
What's up, gentlemen? Yeah, another week closer to football season. And look, no excuses. The Olympics are over. So guess what? Y'all can tune into the Hash It Out show. The patriotism never ends. But y'all could join us and we could get you ready for football season in a big way. And Matt Moscona is gonna be a fun interview tonight. Lots of subplots to the LSU offseason into the season. Lots of questions. And you want to learn about LSU? They are ranked 13th in the preseason polls, yet they're picked 5th overall in the conference. So that just tells you the depth of the SEC top end, isn't it?
Does it tell you the depth of the SEC, or does it tell you that people are going, well, not going, but a lot of people throughout this state, not throughout the state, outside of the state, doesn't believe the LSU hype that people in this state are believing?
I don't, but that's another story.
Hey, I'm just saying, but I know
I
there's a
figured.
team. I know there's a team that's picked fifth, and a lot of people in this state picked fifth right now in the poll. They're fifth. A lot of people in this state don't believe they're going to do anything at all this year, and I'm one of those people that believe that they will do something and that they might
Are you
scratch.
talking about the national poll 5th?
Yes, yes.
I didn't see the poll, so I'm curious.
Oh man, you see that Alabama is ranked fifth?
Oh, paid shill alert. VK.
Paid.
Mm,
Oh my God!
Paid
Come on,
shill.
come
mm.
on, man.
No, but you know what I've said at work about Alabama? I'm glad you said that. You know what I've said about Bama?
What you
I'm
said?
one of a lot of, well, there's some people that work, they're LSU, apologists and all that. I'm like, guys, why are we not liking Alabama? Are we just forgetting that Kalen DeBoer knows how to coach and win? The man took Washington to the national championship with a quarterback that had a restructured leg and an arm. Are you kidding? And yeah, Michigan was a better football team. Not saying it as a fandom. Michigan was just better in all across. But that man took Washington back to the promised land. Didn't quite get the job done. But the dude's been winning his behind off. Bama's not going to fall off. Y'all better beware. Jalen, they were a bad fourth down play against Michigan, and I admit it. Horrible play call with Jalen Murrow on that fourth down in that game against Michigan. If they get that VK, if they convert that, maybe my Wolverines ain't winning this natty from last year.
Hmm. Well, just looking at it in itself, Bama, I wouldn't underestimate them at all. But I ain't gonna lie, it's gonna be a tough task. It's gonna be a major adjustment for Kellen DeBoer. He can coach. He is a winner. But remember when Nick Saban got there at Alabama, that first year was not easy. So trust me, the transition's
Yeah,
gonna be there. I think Bama's gonna be straight, but I'm telling you, they gonna take some hits. And all I'm gonna tell you, I see one team that might win this SEC, and nobody's talking about it. And I really think this might be their time this year. If
if he's
everything, huh?
if you're saying Ole Miss, we can bet from here.
It don't matter. It don't matter. Ole
Mm-hmm.
Miss returns their majority starters, including their quarterback. And now they added Logan Diggs to the offense. All I'm gonna tell you is this: Ole
He ain't,
Miss
he
over
ain't
the
cleared yet.
years
He ain't
have
cleared
been,
yet.
huh?
He ain't cleared yet.
Well,
Yeah, he's not
regardless,
clear.
wherever he's clear, they already got a lot of depth. So all I know,
I got
it'll
about
be
6, 7
almost
running backs.
not what I'm saying. He gonna be icing on the cake with what they have. I'm telling you, Ole Miss has returned like they've been over the years in this last 15 years. They have had some really, really good teams and just so close, but didn't scratch that surface of winning the conference. This might be the time. This might be the team that might can do it. Because I'll tell you one thing, the way they've been playing last year and looking at what they have returning and what they took last year, goodness gracious, Ole Miss is going to be something to look out for this
Uh,
season.
it's funny. Um, it's just funny how you say Ole Miss, and I think Ole Miss is a team that will make the playoffs. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not going to sit here and say that's the best team in the SEC this year.
Mm-mm.
I think they're probably top three,
They're in the
but
argument.
I'm not putting no team in the SEC over the Georgia Bulldogs. Not one team.
I'll give you
Georgia,
one.
Georgia, Georgia is stacked on both sides of the ball.
They
Period.
they are. And if a lasting impression is a first impression to the next season, Georgia made a heck of a lasting impression in the bowl game against Florida in the bowl game against Florida State. Now,
No,
okay, granted,
that was not an
that was
impression. Florida
No, not
State,
impressive.
no,
none of their starters even
no.
played.
Okay, wait. Let me finish. Let me finish. VK2. Let me stop. I'm playing. Um, Georgia beat a Division III Florida State. Florida State ran their scout team in that game, and Georgia did what good teams are supposed to do: put that game to bed early and cruise. That's what I meant. I wasn't saying that it was expected and they did what they did, but why are we forgetting about the Texas Longhorns in the SEC? I
I
mean,
didn't
why
forget
are we forgetting? Don't. They might have the best quarterback in the conference. If for those who say Carson Beck's that dude, I don't know. I think Quinn Ewers is a better quarterback.
I agree.
I
I
agree with that
agree.
too.
You know, but Texas did take a hit. A few days ago, they went. Was it their running back weekend that is
Uh,
out for the year?
that's two running backs out for the year as of
Two running
today.
backs, yeah.
The other one,
So,
the other one tore their Achilles today.
oh, I didn't know that. I knew they had one. I didn't know
Right.
about the second one until you said it. But even
Yes.
then, Sark shut a lot of people up last year. They got to the playoff, and they were a stone's throw from beating Washington in the Superdome. They were down early. They made a grandstand rally. Almost got there. Almost. And but then what are you going to tell me? Close counts and horseshoes and hand grenades. Okay, I get it. But Texas, don't ignore them. I think Ewers is a better quarterback than Beck. Now, if they could figure out the backfield situation as we transition into the season, they're gonna be tough.
Yes, I think they're going to be very tough as well. I think Texas is going to be real tough. Good thing is the one thing I could say, if they still have East and West, I'll be like Georgia by a
No, it's
landslide
one. It's
because
one.
this.
It's one conference.
No,
It's one.
I know. That's what I'm saying. If they would have, if
Oh,
they would
okay.
have East and West,
Hmm.
this may be one of the weakest years for the East ever, but that's not happening. Everything is one conference. So Georgia could be that team. Ole Miss could be that team. Texas could be that team. Alabama. I'm gonna tell you one team that might wind up wrecking people in the conference, and not talking about them being a contender. A team
But
that
they could
could
ruin some people.
they're gonna ruin some people, and I'm gonna tell you the team
Okay.
Vanderbilt. Watch for their quarterback. That quarterback returns this year, and he can throw the ball, he can run it, and at the same time, I'm telling you, man, Vanderbilt, I'm telling you, they're gonna be competitive this year. They're gonna be very, very competitive. I'm throwing this as a bone. I'm not saying they're gonna do anything like that. I'm like this. I don't know if they're gonna go to a bowl, but don't be surprised. They might pull off some shockers. I would not be surprised because I'm telling you, it might be one of them freaking teams. Oh, they ain't gonna do anything. All of a sudden, they pull the rug on a team and be like, okay, boom, they're your playoff chances. You lost to Vandy. But Vandy has a really nice quarterback. Really nice, bro.
I know they.
Like I said,
I
bro.
know these.
I'm telling you. Just saying, but we'll
All
see
Okay.
what
right, all
happens.
right, all right.
But
We're gonna
just saying.
we're gonna stop that right now, ladies and gentlemen, about this
Oh, yes.
Vanderbilt. They're gonna shock some teams this year because that's not gonna happen. But anyway, we're gonna bring in our special guest.
You didn't tell me no when Colorado made that freaking start and all of a sudden they failed, but you tell me nothing this.
I
So
sat there and told you Colorado would win 4 games, and that's what they won. 4 games.
but see, hey,
Trying to
I
change
told
the
you you
narrative on
hopped on the
us.
wagon so fast. Yeah.
I
And
know what
guess
I'm
what?
talking
He
about.
They might win. They
he
might win
swan
6
dove off
this
that
year.
wagon.
Oh God! But let's move on.
Let's
We're bringing our
move.
special guest. He is the host of After Further Review that you could catch on ESPN throughout this state here. We have the one, the only, Matt Moscona. Matt Moscona, what's going on, friend? How you doing?
Hey guys, good evening. Thanks for the invite.
Yes,
What's
sir.
up,
We
Matt?
appreciate you
How you
joining us.
doing?
Good, man. Man, who's up here talking about Vanderbilt? Y'all got to be kidding me. Oh,
That is
man.
VK Jones, the
Let him
one and
have it.
only.
I mean, how in the
But
world, VK, like, how in the world are you going to have me on this show? And the first thing I hear is you trying to hype up Vanderbilt. By the way, Vanderbilt quarterback from last year is at LSU now, AJ Swan. We've got a Utah transfer and a New Mexico State transfer. Now, the New Mexico State transfer did win at Auburn last year, but Vanderbilt is going to be teetotal trash, bro. They ain't going to win 2 games this year. Vanderbilt. VK, how am I going to be on here? And the first thing you try to say is Vanderbilt's going to wreck
Commodores.
people season.
Wow.
Come
Well,
on, man.
well,
Defend
I'm like
yourself,
this.
sir.
I'm like this. I heard they got a.
What are
Look,
you
I've been
talking
looking.
about, man?
I studied, and I've
You
been
boys
looking,
are
man.
laughing at you, man. What are you talking about? Everybody on this call is like, now maybe you'll be brilliant. We'll see. I don't know. But if you
I
are,
might be wrong. I just make bold predictions sometimes, and I'm like this. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. I just throw something out there.
Matt, most times he's wrong. Trust me on that one.
Oh my God, Vanderbilt. Oh. Anyway.
All right, Matt, let's get into it. Last year, we know about the awful defense LSU had, ranked 118th in pass defense. They bring in Blake Baker as the defensive coordinator. Bo Davis comes in from Texas as the D-line coach. And we also have Corey Raymond back as the defensive backs coach. Starting with the defensive line, do you think that the defensive line has enough depth to help this LSU defense?
Depth, yes. They got numbers. What I don't know is if they have any NFL talent. And man, to win in this league, as we've seen over the years, everybody's got good skill players, the differentiator is always who's got the best guys at the line of scrimmage. That's why Alabama and Georgia have won at the level they've won recently. When LSU had its great teams, that's how they won. I mean, I'll think back to that 2011 team. That offensive line. Sorry, my little boy decided he wanted to be part of the show.
That's cool.
That 2011 team, man, the first 9 offensive linemen all had SEC starts, and the 10th guy was Lyle Collins, who was a freshman 5-star. You know what I mean? You had guys like Michael Brockers and Benny Lowe, I mean, Sam Montgomery, Barkevius Mingo. I mean, you could look to 2019 where you had guys. I mean, Rashard Lawrence was an NFL guy. Braden Fajoko is still playing in the NFL right now with the Steelers. Caleb Von Chassel, Patrick Queen. My goodness, they were awesome. I mean, I just don't know that LSU has those guys on this team. They got numbers, and they got a lot of experienced guys. They got a bunch of dudes that are 22, 23 years old, man, 5th, 6th year guys. But I just don't know if they're NFL talented guys. So we'll see how they get it done.
The thing that worries me the most going into this season are the defensive backs. I know Corey Raymond is back, and he's back to help fix the problem that we had last season. But do you think the guys that are projected to be starters are the guys that can actually get the job done this season?
Yeah, so Brian Kelly's given us a lot of access. Today, Tuesday, was the 10th practice of fall camp, and we've gotten to go watch 8 practices, 8 of the 10. And we're out there for at least an hour for each of them. So he's letting us see a lot now. And, I think when you look at the DBs and the wide receivers, if you go like 1 for 1, every receiver is better than the corresponding defensive back. Like, if Kyron Lacey lines up against Ashton Stamps, Kyron Lacey is a better player. If CJ Daniels lines up against PJ Woodland or Sage Ryan, like CJ Daniels is a better player. And I think you could do that exercise throughout the whole defense. But what we've seen, what's been really interesting is, the whole of the defense looks like it's greater than the sum of the parts. When they go do individual drills, the offense wipes the floor with the defense. But when they go into 11 on 11, and you can double team guys, and you can disguise blitzes, and you can have safety help, like the defense ends up winning reps. Now, can it hold up over 12 games in an 8-game SEC schedule? Can it hold up over 60 minutes in a game? I don't know all that. We'll see. But they don't look like they did when they had Stingley and Fulton and Delpit and just a bunch of NFL guys running around out there. But Corey's got them playing sound football in the secondary. And I think so, like a guy like Ashton Stamps, who played a bunch as a freshman, he's growing up, and I think he's a much better player right now, probably their best cornerback. You got some veteran guys. Sage Ryan's playing corner right now and playing well. You brought in Jordan Gilbert from Texas A&M, a U-High kid who is an SEC caliber safety. They're going to be better, man. It would hard to be worse than they were a year ago. They'll be better. It's just you don't know how much better they'll be.
Joe Sloan, Corday Hankton are the offensive coordinators. Do you see them building on the success that they had from the bowl game?
Yeah, the bowl game was interesting. I think the biggest takeaway of the bowl game, and you had a lot of opt-outs too, but the biggest thing of the bowl game, Neighbors was out there for the bowl game, at least for the start till he got the record. But I think the biggest thing in the bowl game was, man, you were down and Garrett Nussmeier took the ball at his 2-yard line and led you on a 98-yard game-winning drive. That's what I wanted to see more than just the play call. LSU offensively is so much talent. Like, the offensive line is, you talk about the trenches, man. Will Campbell never loses a rep. I mean, it's almost he's so dominant, it's almost boring, y'all. And Emory Jones is a total force over there as well. You got 2 senior starters at guard. You keep Nussmeier upright, and you got all these gazelles at wide receiver. They're fine. All Joe Sloan needs to do is say, hey, man, keep number 13 upright, let him throw it to the freakishly athletic guys on the outside, and they'll be good. I mean, I'm not worried about the offense, man. Like, I don't look. Jaden was some kind of special, man, and you were number 1 in the country in scoring and total offense. I don't think you're going to do that again, but you can be plenty good enough offensively to beat any team you play. I'm not saying you're going to win every game, but I'm saying you're good enough offensively to beat anybody on your schedule. It's really just a matter of like how much better can the defense be.
VK Jones, I pass it to you.
Yes, sir. Mr.
You ain't gonna ask me
Moscona,
about
man.
Vanderbilt, are you, VK?
No, sir. No, sir. No, sir.
Hey, is the Vanderbilt? You've been lying to me and saying Vashon all the time, but it's really Vanderbilt.
No.
Vanderbilt Kid Jones.
Vanderbilt Kid Jones. Is that what VK is? Is VK
No,
Vanderbilt
sir.
Kid?
And
No,
he's
sir.
that from
Might
day
be.
on. Day on.
I'm a West Bank boy, man. No, man. But what the heck is you're funny, man. I love you, man. But I'm gonna tell you.
I'm just messing with you, man.
I know. You we go way back, man. It's good to have you on the show. But I gotta ask you about Harold Perkins. Seemed like he's been really working hard and everything else. And LSU is really counting on him to be that guy. And you've been talking about it. A lot of people talk about it over the years on his position. How he is coming up this year. Will he be that guy, or will he be a true leader for this LSU defense and this team?
Yeah. You know, I think there was so much talk in the spring when they talked about moving Perkins back inside. Because remember, they did that last year. They spent all offseason trying to make him an off-ball linebacker. One game against Florida State, and it was like, man, that ain't going to work. Right. And so they moved him to that nickel Sam role. So you saw him a lot in coverage, out on the outside. And so now they're moving him back inside again. And, you know, it was interesting talking to Blake Baker this offseason, because one of the things he said was like, you have to start with the physical ability. Like, can you do it? Like, can Harold Perkins play off-ball linebacker? By Blake Baker's estimation, he said, yeah, he's got the physical ability to do it. Now it's just reps and get him comfortable there. But what's been so interesting in fall camp is it's not like Harold Perkins is just setting up in the middle of the defense like, you know, Mike Singletary 35 years ago and just taking on guards and double teams and trying to, you know, stuff the A gap. They're moving him all over. Like, we have seen him in run fits. We have seen him stretch plays. He got a TFL on Caleb Jackson on a stretch play the other day in 11-on-11. We've seen him drop in coverage. He got an interception on a sideline. I mean, I think he's kind of a queen piece on the chessboard that Blake Baker's like, oh man, I can put this dude anywhere. And he's elite anywhere. So, you know, I think Perkins is going to have an awesome year. You know, people forget this because the defense was so bad, but statistically, Perkins' year last year was almost a mirror image to his freshman season. He had 75 tackles, 13 TFLs, 5.5 sacks, had an interception, 6 pass breakups, 4 forced fumbles. Like, he was awesome. It was just all for naught because the defense was so bad. So I don't worry about Harold, man. I think he's going to have a great season. I think he's going to be a first-round draft pick. You know, it's can he affect enough plays for the guys around him, and can the guys around him pick him up enough to where they can get off the field on third down and, you know, get this offense some extra possessions, go win some extra games.
Talk about the running backs, Matt. What does LSU have this year that probably can take some pressure off the offensive line and off of Graham Nussmeier?
Yeah. So Brian Kelly surprised me a little bit. You know, we talked to him last week, and he said, you know, Josh Williams, they know what they got in Josh Williams. They just got to get him to Saturdays. So you don't see Josh Williams take a lot of reps in these practices, 7-on-7s, 11-on-11s, because it's just like, hey, just keep him healthy and get 27 to Saturdays. And then they feel like with John Emery coming off the torn ACL, that they really want to stress him to see what his knee is capable of doing. Actually, on Monday, John Emery was out on a wheel route and got banged up a little bit, stayed down, but was back out there today on Tuesday, full go. So, you know, John's out there playing hard, a couple of 6-year guys there. But I think the real wild card is Caleb Jackson. You got the freshman Caden Durham coming in as well, and he looks pretty good. But you know, Caleb Jackson is just the wild card of this whole offense. You know, if he's a guy that plays so well that you can't help but give him, you know, 15 carries a game, you know, I think you got the potential for a 1,000-yard rusher there this year. I mean, if he gets 200 carries and averages 5 yards a carry, he's a 1,000-yard rusher. And I think that could happen this year with Caleb Jackson. As a matter of fact, I think he is the guy on this offense that if you ask me around the league, around the country, the name that nobody really knows yet that I think at the end of the season they will, it's Caleb Jackson. And even if it's not numbers, he's going to have explosive plays. Guys, I don't know if y'all saw this, but LSU released the practice video. Saturday, they were running like an 11-on-11 team period. This was one tackle to the ground period that they had. And Caleb Jackson took a little screen pass in the right flat, turned up field, and he dump trucked Whit Weeks. And Whit Weeks is a good player. Like Whit Weeks is a Sunday player.
Yes.
And Caleb Jackson flat ran him over like a child. I mean, he's going to have those types of plays. And they're going to be Sports Center top 10 plays. And so I think a lot of people are going to get used to seeing him a lot because of that ability. But man, I'm excited about Caleb Jackson the most.
Okay. The wide receiver spot, we pretty much see a lot of big plays out of CJ Daniels and stuff like that and everything. How has the progress been with everybody else, especially Kylan Billiot?
Look, you asking about Kylan Billiot. There you go. Kylan had a touchdown on the first day of practice, man. They were doing 7-on-7, and he beat PJ Woodland over the top, just straight go route down the seam. And it's impressive speed. You know, as a guy that I think that's got great potential. The problem for a guy like Kylan, Jelani Watkins, you know, some of the young guys is they're just so deep. Where are the reps? You know, Kyron Lacey is a potential first-round pick. I think CJ Daniels is a day 1 or 2 pick in the draft. Chris Hilton is a guy that we've forgotten about because he spent 3 years injured, but he has remade his body, changed his number. He's wearing number 3 now. Chris Hilton at times has been the most explosive playmaker. I would even say, guys, like Kyron Lacey and CJ Daniels may be your leading receivers as far as receptions, receiving yards. But if you ask me who leads LSU in receiving touchdowns, I bet it's Chris Hilton because he has like dynamic explode. He's like Brian Thomas. Brian Thomas at 17 led the country in touchdown receptions last year, you know? So, I mean, just those 3 guys. And then you're talking about Aaron Anderson and Xavion Thomas, who was Mississippi State's leading receiver a year ago. Then you get the Shelton Sampson, who is a former 5-star and looks awesome. I hadn't even mentioned Mason Taylor or Kamorian Pimpton or Tradez Green. Where's the reps? You know, there's only one ball. You know, it's a good problem to have, but that's the problem they face right now.
That sounds like a great problem. I'm actually just one thing, and George Pepper's going to take over with the questions. Last year's LSU defense, it was something else of what we seen, and to me, maybe possibly one of the worst college defenses I ever seen. The only other defense I seen that was that bad was the West Virginia defense when I believe that was Geno Smith who was the quarterback at the time. So do you think last year's LSU's defense was probably maybe one of the worst maybe you ever seen, you know?
Well, I mean, it was the worst for LSU defense statistically. I mean, people forget about that 2020 defense in the COVID year when Bo Pelini came back for one season. I mean, you allowed 600. Look, the SEC has been around for almost 90 years.
Mm-hmm.
And that kid, KJ Costello,
600.
threw for 600 yards against LSU in Baton Rouge, which was the most passing yards in a game in the history of the SEC. And by the way, a month later, that guy was benched.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I've seen it bad before. But, I mean, last year was just the thing that stings the most about last year, guys, is, I mean, your offense was so good, and Jaden had such a special year. And to allow LSU lost 3 games, and in those 3 games, they allowed an average of 48 points. I mean, you lost the game to Ole Miss when you scored 40. You went on the road and scored 49 and lost. Like, there's no reality where that should ever happen. Ever. So, man, 2020 and 2023, the 2 worst defenses I've ever seen at LSU, bar none. I mean, worst ever in college football. That's a mouthful. They've been playing college football for like 130 years. I'm sure, like, there was that team Swanee or whatever it was that allowed 200 points to Georgia Tech or whatever it was back in the day.
Cumberland.
Yeah. I mean, man, like, there's been some bad defenses. So I don't know if I would say the worst ever, but as far as, you know, from an LSU perspective, yeah. I mean, it 2020 and 2023 are the two worst defenses LSU's ever fielded, which is hard to believe. It's hard to win games when you're that bad on one side of the ball.
George Peppers, you're up.
Matt Moscona, first off, thank you for taking the time for joining us. And no Vanderbilt questions from me. I'm not on that wagon, sir. But I gotta say about KJ Costello, throwing the 600-something yards. I remember watching that game live, and the phrase you used to describe Vanderbilt, what do you call it? T something trash. That was KJ Costello. That was him. So just throwing it out there. I do want to ask you. How the bowl game finished up last year against Wisconsin. I thought LSU was going to hammer them. They didn't. The defense was so bad they gave up 35 to Wisconsin. But Garrett Nussler, as you pointed out, led a 98-yard drive. Do you think that was a corner-turning drive for him as far as it could propel him to a very big season this year? Did you see any characteristics?
Yeah, I think it's affirming. And maybe we're just talking semantics here, but like, the thing about Garrett is if you go to Central Casting and you say, draw me up a quarterback, it might look like Garrett Nussmeier. He's tall, he make all the throws. He's got tons of confidence, almost like cockiness, bravado, son of a coach, football smarts, IQ, great leader, all that. I mean, he's got check. He's got all of it. The only thing he doesn't have is playing time. So even if you think that guy could be awesome, until you see it, look, Tennessee had a guy named Joe Milton who was a 5-star. Dude could do a backflip on the field and threw the ball 100 yards. But dude couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. I mean, until you see him do it, can he really do it? So, when Garrett takes the ball there, and goes 98 to win the game, it's validating, man. It goes, okay, yeah, of course, this confirms everything we thought about him. So, yeah, I think that was a huge moment for him, for the coaching staff, for his teammates, for them all to see, yeah, in this moment, we needed it. Nuss went and did it. So, I'll be curious to see how he maintains over 12 games. I'll be curious to see, can he stay healthy? There's a lot of things that go into it. You got a new play caller this year in Joe Sloan. I mean, I talked to Garrett at SEC Media Days, and he said he was talking about he was so grateful to sit behind Jaden and to learn from Jaden. I said, did you learn how to run for 1,100 yards? Like, no, I don't think so, man. He didn't get that memo. But it's a little different, right? I mean, you're not going to have a quarterback that runs like that. But yeah, I think that drive was massive for a lot of reasons.
Looking at the schedule, they open in Vegas against USC. All right, USC is going to transition in a little bit of a transition. They're into the Big Ten now. The game is on a neutral site. I personally think LSU will win that game big. I don't have any respect for USC whatsoever. That they've never been able to get a defense right. And if this LSU offense is as good as we think it can be, when you look at that matchup, Matt, based on the practices you've seen from LSU, again, y'all have had a lot of access. What do you think they can do? Do they have a clear advantage against that Trojan team on a neutral site?
George, I don't know that you can say that, man. I mean, LSU's about a touchdown favorite. But remember, LSU and USC. Y'all know that Spider-Man gif people use where it's like the same Spider-Man are pointing at each other. You ever seen that?
Yeah,
that's like LSU and USC. Both teams lose a Heisman winning quarterback. Both teams were atrocious on defense a year ago. Both teams fired their defensive coordinator, new defensive staff, have way more talent than they played up to that level. I mean, I think we think in our mind a certain way about LSU, but you have to look at the reality of what LSU is, not what LSU was. What LSU is a team that lost a Heisman winning quarterback, 2 first-round picks at receiver, your Broyles Award winning offensive coordinator, and defensively, you were the worst defense in the history of the program a year ago. And I don't know that you added guys that are NFL guys. I think Jordan Gilbert is an SEC safety. We talked about him. You added some bodies to the defense, but I think highly Gio Paez coming in from Wisconsin, and you got JVR Suggs from Grand Valley. But it ain't like you went and added dudes that are going to. It ain't like you went and added Walter Nolan like Ole Miss did, adding Texas A&M's. Well, I mean, you added veteran guys who played a lot of college football, but probably aren't even going to hear their name called in the draft. So I don't. And LSU's lost 4 straight openers. Maybe I'm just a little gun shy because I ain't seen LSU win an opener since Joe Burrow in 2019. So,
Mhm.
I mean, I get why LSU favored. I do think LSU wins that game. And I hope you're right, George. I hope they win it going away. So I'll be there. Trust me, I could use a stress-free Sunday night out in Las Vegas.
There you
I would
go.
like that very much. Because then I got to
Mhm.
do a post-game show with T-Bob Abear. And if LSU loses that game, I'm not going to be too up. I'm not going to be too much into doing that show with T-Bob Abear. A drunk T-Bob Abear yelling at the LSU loss.
Oh wow. Earmuffs.
But
Earmuffs, right?
but
Just like old school.
But I think, look, man, I think LSU can win that game. I think they will win that game.
Okay.
But I don't think we can assume anything with this LSU team because, like we just talked about with Nuss, right? Like, you got to see it. Same is true with this defense. I can go watch an hour of practice and tell you that they're getting better, and I think they are. But until I see you on the field, Blake Baker calling this defense against another team trying to beat you, I mean, I got to see it, man. They were so bad last year, and you've lost 4 straight openers. I got to see you show up in Las Vegas ready to play and go win that game.
Yeah, not get distracted, of course, with Vegas, and it provides the obvious distractions that it has. With that said, I want to talk about Blake Baker because last year at Missouri, that defense was really, really good. And look, I kind of want to temper the Ohio State game and the bowl game when I think they shut them out in that bowl game because Ohio State's opt-outs were ridiculous. Marvin Harrison Jr.
They didn't beat Ohio State, man. They beat a junior high team.
I know, just like Georgia beat a junior high team in their bowl game, right, against Florida State. Yeah. So we had that, but it doesn't tarnish what Missouri did last year and what Blake Baker brings to this defense. I feel like they're going to get better. If you evaluating schematically how they look to you. What do you think is a weakness for LSU's defense? Where do they have to fix things with him?
Everywhere.
I mean,
from a year ago, yeah. But I'm glad you said schematically because I'd rather go there because what's pretty obvious through looking. I mean, like I said, like there are 10 practices in at this point. I've seen 8 of them. I've seen a lot of them at this point. At least an hour. So I've seen 8, 12 hours of this team practicing now. Like, that's a lot of football.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing Blake Baker did that I think was so smart is he just completely simplified everything. Almost to a point that it's so elementary. They're playing cover 2 and just you're going to see some press man, but it's just so simple. So that way, I mean, one of the things you saw last year so much with LSU was guys running around with their hands in the air in the secondary, pointing at guys getting burned. Like, I think Blake came in and said, first thing we're going to do is that's going to stop. Like, we're going to simplify this so everybody knows where they're supposed to be and make it harder for the offense. And then what we've seen is him start to build on top of that. For example, he's getting really creative with his fronts. They have this one front that we got to see today where they take the defensive tackles off the field. They move Parashand into a zero technique. They got Savion at one end and Braden Swinson at the other. Then they stand up Harold Perkins at the left end. And now all of us, and then Whit Weeks is the only off-ball linebacker in the middle. Now you look and you go, that's a lot of elite rush skills right there at the line of scrimmage. And they ran that formation in an 11-on-11. Parashand got his hand on a 4th down pass, tipped it up, and intercepted the ball. I mean, I think that's what they did. Blake Baker simplified, so everybody was pulling in the same direction. And from the opener, how much more can he add between now and then? You have to continue developing. So it's been interesting to watch him, man.
Looking at the composition of the schedule at LSU, when you look at it, they're ranked 13th in the preseason poll that came out from the AP yesterday. 5th best team in the SEC, according to the SEC. Game on there that you can just look at and say they're going to need big.
It's not to say they're going undefeated.
No.
But this, I don't even have to give you my opinion. Look at the odds makers. I mean, Vegas has put out odds for every game for where you would need odds. Like, you're not going to have odds for South Alabama or Nicholls this early or anything like that.
None of that.
The only game Where LSU is an underdog right now is the road game at Texas A&M. They're a home favorite against Bama, home favorite against Ole Miss, a road favorite against Florida, a home favorite against Oklahoma, a favorite at neutral site against USC. The only game where they're an underdog right now, according to Vegas, is the road trip to College Station. That's the second of back-to-back road conference games, which is always a tough spot. But no, they can beat anybody on the schedule. It's not to say they will beat everybody. It's just to say it's just like anything in the SEC. It's staying healthy. It's avoiding the landmines on the schedule. You know, the reality is over the course of 12 games, every team will have a game where they play their best game. Cost you. Think about 2 years ago. LSU played its worst game at Arkansas in that 11 a.m. game, and they beat Alabama in overtime. The next week they go to Arkansas. Arkansas didn't have its starting quarterback. I mean, they were decimated. Trash. And LSU went and played its worst game of the season and darn near lost, but they escaped. Right? LSU played its best game of the season against Alabama, and they won that game in overtime. So I think it's probably something like that. Can you play your best game on a day where you need it? And can you play your worst game on a day where even at your worst, you're still good enough to win?
Okay. Mason Taylor, you touched on him for a split second. The argument about the best tight ends in the country, you know, Colston Loveland from Michigan is that guy. Mason Taylor, I think, is a guy that could really make an argument with a really good year. Talk about his progression in your mind and what you've seen from him. I think is a potential day one draft pick in the right formula. You know, whatever team in the back end of the first round can get him. I'm very high on Mason Taylor. Your thoughts?
Yeah, George, I don't know if you saw this, but Jordan Reed, who's a draft analyst over at ESPN, about a week ago put out a piece where he rated the top 10 of the top player at 10 different positions for next year's draft, and he had Mason Taylor the best tight end over the Michigan tight end. So I think there's a real chance that Mason Taylor could. You don't see a ton of tight ends going round one, but there's a real chance that if there's a team with the right need, that you could see that pop somewhere in round one. I think the most interesting thing about Mason is, you know, when LSU recruited him, he was a 3-star, and he's about 230 pounds maybe. But now Mason Taylor is up around 255. He is big enough to be an inline blocker. Like, he can put like a prototypical tight end, put your hand in the dirt and move bodies. He can do that, but he's also athletic enough to go make any catch, which makes him a guy like George Kittle, Travis Kelce, those tight ends. It's not Kyle Pitts where he's a glorified receiver, right? He's a real multifaceted tight end. And I don't know if y'all know this, but I've used this on my show over the years a couple times. Brian Kelly, in 10 years at Notre Dame, had as many tight ends drafted as LSU did from 1980 to today. There are two positions that Brian Kelly has recruited and developed and pumped into the NFL draft at a greater clip than any other. Tight end, offensive line. Tight end, offensive line. So whenever Brian Kelly recruits a tight end, I'm like, I'm good. Whoever you say. He'll be great. Like, he has an eye for it. He knows how to utilize the position and how to develop that position as well. And you're seeing it with Mason Taylor. You're seeing it with Kamorian Pimpton, who has been fantastic. He had I actually put this video on Twitter. Kamorian Pimpton caught a touchdown today in a goal line drill, high pointing the ball in the corner of the end zone, tight coverage. I mean, Trey'Dez Green is going to be awesome. I mean, you know, Mason Taylor's just the next in a long line of great tight ends that Brian Kelly's recruited and developed, man. You give a lot of credit to Mike Denbrock, who's the tight ends coach, who's now at Notre Dame, and Slade Nagel is coming in now he was at Tulane, he's coming in as the tight ends coach, replacing Denbrock. But, yeah, man, he's got good pedigree too. Doesn't hurt when the genetics are a Pro Football Hall of Famer, when your dad's a Pro Football Hall of Famer. But
it does.
Your uncle's a Hall of Famer as well. But yeah, no, I'm excited to see Mason Taylor. He's a good kid too, man. I think he's poised for a great year. If he can stay healthy, he could have a really special tight end. He could break every tight end receiving record at LSU.
JB?
Matt, a couple of our fans have a couple questions for you. One from Leo Pollard. He's going to be in Las Vegas for the game. He wants to know where you're doing your post-game show from.
Yeah, thanks. So we'll be in Mandalay Bay at the MGM Sportsbook. So they have a built-out studio in the MGM Sportsbook, and so they're kind enough to let us set up shop there. So I'll be doing Hester and T-Bob, and then I will both be doing our shows on Friday there, and then Eagle 98.1 Game Day pregame, postgame, and Whiskey and Wine. The show T-Bob and I will do. We'll all be there on Sunday. So looking forward to it, man. It should be a really good setup. Y'all come by and see us.
Awesome. Kenny Ramonde says, he asks, since Brian Kelly has proven himself in his third year at every stop he's been to, will he lead LSU into the playoffs this year?
So I love the convo about BK in year 3, and it's true. And he's been asked about it a bunch, and his answer pretty consistently is by year 3, he has instituted enough of his cultural expectations to where now he can start to ask more of his players. Guys know where to be, when to be there, how to act, how to practice. All that stuff is now ingrained, that now we can start to build and ask more of them, which is why you tend to see that springboard in year 3. Because this is a 12-team playoff year, yeah, I think they could make a 12-team playoff. If this were still a 4-team playoff, and to get there, you'd have to win the SEC, meaning you'd have to win the West, get to Atlanta, probably beat Georgia. I don't think that's something that would have been doable for this team. But yeah, in a 12-team playoff, are you telling me can this team go 10-2 and find themselves as like the number 11 seed? Yeah, I think that's completely realistic. I mean, Vegas has their over under 9.5. If they go on the plus side of that, they're at 10-2. I think the tricky part about it though is there's about 7 fan bases in the SEC who all think the same thing, and they ain't all getting in. So there's going to be some disappointed fan bases around the league because Ole Miss and Bama and LSU and Tennessee and Missouri on top of Texas and Georgia all think that. And then Auburn and Texas A&M both think their teams are on the come and they could maybe step up and be a playoff team this year. They ain't all getting in, man. There's only so many spots. The Big Ten thinks they're getting 5 teams in.
Right.
There's going to be a lot of disappointed people once we figure out how the committee runs this playoff.
Most definitely. Last one. Kenan Hall asks, do you think LSU beats Alabama?
Yes, I do. I do. I think that game's in Baton Rouge, and LSU didn't lose a home game a year ago. They've been very good at home under Brian Kelly. The atmosphere for that is going to be awesome. Tigers will have a bye before that game, as we know that they traditionally do. And maybe most importantly, guys, I think Alabama regresses. I don't know how. Are y'all Saints fans? Is everybody Saints fan?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Yes.
So I learned this lesson in the Bounty Gate year that forever ingrained this into me. So in 2011, the Saints, that was the best team in Saints history. I know they won the Super Bowl in 2009, but even the 2009 guys would tell you 11 was a better team.
Yep.
So they lose in the divisional round. We all know what happened in San Francisco, but they lose that game. And then Bounty Gate happens that offseason. And the Saints did everything right. You had great leaders. You had Drew Brees there. You had that whole great team back. They put everything in place with, Cromer was going to be the interim until Vitt came back, and Peyton had the big "do your job" banner and all that stuff. They had put everything in place. And what happened to that team? They missed playoffs.
Yep.
Because coaching matters in football more than any other sport. It's like warfare. The general matters. Who's calling the shot and strategizing, it matters. So you can't tell me that Alabama is going to lose the greatest coach in the history of this game. College football has never seen a better coach than Nick Saban.
Correct.
You're going to take Nick Saban away. Oh, by the way, also, you're losing an All-American safety, your 5th-year senior at center. You're losing 40 players from that roster. Your top 3 pass catchers, 2 of whom are now at Texas. You're going to tell me you're losing all that talent and the greatest coach ever, and you're not going to miss a beat. I just don't buy it. I don't buy it. I mean, Nick Saban made a deal with the devil, man. How'd they convert 4th and 31 against Auburn last year? They had no explanation for that.
Horrible defense.
No explanation for that other than Nick Saban made a deal with the devil. And now that tab has come due, man. And listen, I'm not telling you, I've done a lot of rants on Alabama this offseason, and they've been theatrical. Bama's burning stuff. People might have seen it. And it's theatrical, but it's fun, man. I do radio, and that's supposed to be fun. All right, so that's that. But in a very measured way that I say this, I'm not telling you Alabama is going to go in the toilet and be a 6-win team. I'm just telling you they have regressed to the pack, where 9-3 becomes more of a reality than 11-1, 12-0 every year. Georgia stands alone in that category right now. Bama's not there anymore. Bama's going to lose 3 games this year, and they'll go 9-3. They'll miss the playoff, and I think every year further removed they are from winning. The last championship they won was the COVID year, 2020. So they ain't going to win it this year. That'll be 4 years without a playoff. That'll be the longest drought since Nick was hired. And I don't think they win it next year. And so it'll be 5. And then 6. And then all of a sudden, they start tapping their feet going, wait a minute, we're supposed to win this thing every damn year. And I just think the leash is going to be short for Kalen DeBoer because of that, because the expectation at Alabama is so unrealistic because of the run Nick Saban went on. And I think they're in for a culture shock whenever all of a sudden that 4th and 31 doesn't go their way when they've spent 2 decades expecting that play to go their way. And that's the difference between having Nick Saban and not. And yes, I think LSU beats Alabama this year. Yes, I do.
VK, I know you got a couple more questions for Matt before we let him go.
Yes, sir. Got to ask you this. What are your thoughts of these changes in college football? What are your thoughts of the state of it with the super conferences, all these teams added, 12-team playoff? What are your thoughts? Because a lot of us, and especially experts we talk to, is not fond of what's going on right now.
I love it. I love college football, guys, but college football, I love it in spite of itself. We all love college football in spite of its flaws. Like, people who are opposed to realignment or an expanded playoff, when you ask people why they're opposed to it, what do they say? And of y'all, what do people say when they're opposed to it? Serious question.
Too big, too many teams in the conference.
The tradition's
Would be
not
one.
what it is anymore. You know what I'm saying? Luckily with the SEC, they still have a few rivalries going to still keep going. Thank
Tradition,
goodness.
rivalries, everything is intangible. It's all about the feeling. Oh, the tradition. You know, let me tell you something. One of the greatest games ever played in college football, Nebraska, Oklahoma. When Nebraska went to the Big Ten, well, they're not going to play Nebraska, Oklahoma. It's terrible. You know what's happened? Every year, more people watch college football. They spend more money. TV rights go up. Texas, absurd. It is fundamentally absurd that any sports postseason is dictated based on a friggin' sunset over some mountains. The friggin' Rose Bowl has to play at 3:00 because of the sunset over the sand, whoever mountain. Give me a break. It's the stupidest thing in the world. You know what? They played a Rose Bowl game with Georgia and Oklahoma in the playoff. They played it at night. Awesome game.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
well, it's just stupid. Like, in the history of sports, you see, you got me wound up now. Because this is one of my hot button issues. In the history of sports, I mean, go back to the ancient Romans when they would wrestle naked in the Colosseum. You know what I mean? Like the beginning of time when sport existed. There has never been a sport in history. All of them. You could win every game and not even have a chance to win a championship until college football. You mean to tell me that every sport in the history of mankind is wrong and college football got it right? No. College football bastardized itself to make money. And that's okay. I'm all with making money. That's fine. Pay the coaches, pay the players, build bigger facilities. That's all good. But don't pee on my head and tell me it's raining. Like, don't sit here and try to throw this tradition blanket and, the pageantry of this and that. That's all great. I love the pageantry of college football. But it's not what makes college football. Like, if I go into Tiger Stadium and watch a playoff game in December where LSU is hosting Ohio State in Tiger Stadium in a playoff, who does not want to see that? What red-blooded human who, with eyeballs, breath in your lungs, that loves football doesn't want to see that? It is, the counter arguments are stupid. I'm not saying people are stupid. I'm saying the counter arguments to this are stupid. We had a team last year in Florida State that played in a power league, beat LSU and Florida in the non-conference, won every game it played and its conference championship, and a bunch of nincompoops in a hotel ballroom in suburban Dallas said, we don't think you're good, so we're not going to put you in a playoff. What?
Right.
What? Why did we play LSU and Florida and a conference championship game and beat everybody we played if all these people in a room are going to tell us we can't even play for a championship? Nah, man. The state of college football is finally on a path to health where we have a true playoff. We crown a true champion. The free labor that has been used, that's not the market. Let me ask you a question. Sure. How much is a little piece of cardboard with a picture of Honus Wagner on it worth? Just a little bit piece of cardboard, picture of a man.
3.3 million, I think.
Cardboard. Why? Because there's a market for it. So if some rich guy wants to say to a quarterback, I'm going to give you $1.2 million to come quarterback my team. God bless you, kid. Go get your bag. I mean, we have had the wool pulled over our eyes for decades, and people just guzzle the Kool-Aid, man, in what college football is, of the fight songs, the pageantry. That's great stuff. But don't tell me that's what makes college football. What makes college football, emotions around it, and you watch a great product. That's what we love about college football. Nobody wants to watch LSU against Nichols. Raise your hand if you're aching to watch LSU Nichols.
Oh, no shot.
Anybody?
Well, it's hard even despite that's alma mater. So I think it's not hard.
No disrespect to Nichols. You know why LSU and Nichols are playing? Money. Another gate receipt for LSU. It's a big fat paycheck for Nichols. Yep. That's what it is. That's all it is. Nobody wants to see that game. You worried about playing too many games? I got an idea. Don't play Nichols in South Alabama this year. Play 10 regular season games and have a full playoff. But they won't do it. Why? Money. Gate receipt. That's what it is, man. Until they figure out in TV contracts how to make up for the potential of losing home games like Nichols in South Alabama, you'll keep seeing that trash. Or better yet, take them two off the schedule, play two legit schools. Get rid of Nichols in South Alabama. Instead, bring Ohio State and Oregon in here and have a true playoff where you can lose a game. But you know what you're doing? You're serving your fans and watching VK.
Nah, I'm not. I had a feeling you're going to have something.
I know our recording stopped. Did you get all of it?
We got it. We got it. We got it. Yeah.
The thing, and I wanted to ask you that because I know we wanted to really get your point on this new going into hopefully next season. A great running back in Harlem Berry right now, verbal commitment to LSU and everything else. And my take on it a little bit is I really think he should go somewhere else to get an opportunity to play more than anything else, because that depth chart and the running back thing, we talked about it earlier, it's going to be a lot because they got other running backs that come into LSU.
The two worst takes on this show tonight.
Oh, no.
Harlem Berry's a 5-star. He's the best running back in America. Wherever he goes, he's going to play. LSU's losing Josh Williams and John Emery after this season. Their 6th year, they're out of eligibility. You got Caleb Jackson who'll be going into year 3, and then you got Caden Durham who'll be going into year 2. That's the only scholarship running backs you got. They got Harlem Berry. They got James Simon. They're going to need. Why are you trying to get Harlem Berry to go to Ohio State? Are you outside of your brain? No. Harlem Berry's going to be a Tiger. He's going to be a Tiger. Then he's going to score touchdowns and run for yards and help LSU win championships. Don't try to take him away from VK.
I'm not trying to do that. Listen. As much as anything else, I want Harlem Berry to be a Tiger, But a person like him, I always look out for, not just for the team, I look out for somebody like, hey, hopefully he can get the opportunity. I think and I'm glad you're saying that he can have a chance to play immediately. And I'm glad you're saying that because
Berry is going to step on campus day one and get carries at LSU. And if Harlem Berry wanted to play receiver, he would step on campus and get reps at receiver day one at LSU or anywhere he goes.
Absolutely.
So, VK, stop trying to send Harlem Berry. Stop trying to send a kid from New Orleans to Columbus, Ohio. Okay, those days are over. BK is putting a fence around the state. Look, as long as Coach Frank is in Baton Rouge, any kid in New Orleans, LSU wants, LSU should get. All right, BK. Come on, man. First Vanderbilt, now you're trying to send Harlem Berry to Ohio State?
Come on now.
Like that, man.
I think that's too tight on VK.
But I get it. I definitely get it. And I've been covering high school now for over like 17 years in the state.
Yeah.
My thing is, I like everybody to get their opportunities. It doesn't matter where they go, in my opinion, because as long as they get that opportunity,
it matters to me, VK.
It matters to you because you're LSU guy. I get it.
Right, I am. I went there. I love the school. I love the team. I cover them. I want them to win. Yeah. I don't want Harlem. That's a 5-star running back from New Orleans. You want him to go to Ohio State?
Nope.
VK.
And I'm a Michigan fan. I don't want that.
We gotta have a talk, man. Yo, hey, guys, you gotta talk to your guy here, man.
Man, look, man.
We need to.
I know this is surprising to you, but this is not surprising to us. We try to get in his head, get him right. It's just so far ain't working. We're going to do something to
VK.
JB, I actually have some more questions.
I
gotta go put my son in the bathtub. Man, I could do one more, but I gotta go put my son in the bathtub.
All right.
Okay.
All right. One more question.
Yeah, one more.
All right. This is going to end on a humorous note, but to your point earlier about Jordan, playing games that are pay games. Look at Florida State. You mentioned they won every game, but their biggest loss was Jordan Travis in a pay game, and that ruined their season. That's just to your point. All right. My final question is this: in 3 years now, Brian Kelly, we all remember his first public appearance at LSU was at PMAC, trying the Cajun accent. Has he perfected it?
You know, man, I was listening to that when it happened, and I don't think he was trying to do a Southern accent. I genuinely,
what was that, though?
I will tell you, no BS. And I have no reason. Listen, we have fun here. Like, y'all know I wouldn't lie. I mean, if I thought.
Oh, absolutely.
I think, and I could tell you exactly where I was. There was a basketball game. My son loves to go for little car rides. So at halftime of that basketball game, I took him for a car ride, and we were coming in the neighborhood. And I was just in front of my house, about to turn in my driveway. I was listening because they were playing it on the radio. Because I was listening to halftime radio broadcast, and I heard the Faye Amelie thing, and I think he tripped on his word. Like, if you ever. I know this sounds because the accepted belief is that Brian Kelly was faking a Southern accent. That's what everyone accepts, and so they made fun of him. And I'm not going to change anybody's mind, but I'm telling you, in the moment, listening to it live, the entire speech he gave, I think he tripped on his word, and it just led to like weird jostle in his voice. And I know people are going to think that that's bogus. It's the LSU guy defending him. I'm telling you, in the moment, having never met Brian Kelly, when I heard that, that's what I thought. So. And if you actually pay attention to it, you notice how many times like we all do that. Like, we just trip over a word and it, the diction just sounds messed up. But anyway, that's my opinion of I think what happened. Like, I genuinely, like, hand on Bible, hand to God. I do not believe, I'm not doing this for attention. I do not believe Brian Kelly was trying to fake a Southern accent to endear himself to Louisiana. I genuinely don't believe that's what he was doing.
Matt Moscona, the host of After Further Review, that you can catch on Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 o'clock on ESPN Radio. Matt, we truly thank you for joining us. We truly appreciate this moment.
All right, guys. My pleasure. Y'all be good.
Yes, sir.
You too, man.
Thank you. Keep doing what you're doing.
Matt Moscona here, everybody. And hey, VK, bro, what's going on? Everybody giving you the business, man. What's going on? Robin Fan, bro, giving you the business. Now, Matt
2 weeks in a row.
Give you the business. Man, what's going on?
It's not easy being me, man. It's not easy being me. and I'm not gonna change who I am. You know what I'm saying? So
You
if
gotta
I'm wrong, I'm
change.
wrong.
Take
You
it
know,
on long.
like I told Matt, I said it would be great for him to go to LSU. My thing is, and I love what Matt said. He said it himself that he's gonna be day one. Great, that's all I need to hear. But we talked about this in the
Damn.
conversation as well about James Simon and all them backs. You just hoping that he don't get lost in the shuffle. That's the biggest
Damn.
thing I'm saying. You know what I'm saying?
You
That's
getting
why I said
clowned right now,
Ohio State.
VK.
And so what? I
Look at
don't
Leo.
care.
Look at what Leo
Man,
put. He got. Oh
man,
wow.
man. Polo can't come in and do my job. So man, you can go ahead with that.
Oh
I've been
Lord.
in this game
But
too
Look,
long, so I take
look,
all this all
man.
day.
I got so much respect for Matt Moscona. I listen to the show, and especially during the postseason after LSU game, him and T Bob. I love watching that post game show, man. T Bob, when LSU loses, oh Lord,
oh
T
wow.
Bob, oh
Rant time.
Lord,
Yeah, rant time.
boy,
Yes.
T Bob was on TV. They would hit that censor button about every 2 seconds when LSU loses. But Matt knows so much, man, and it's just great to listen to his perspective on sports regarding LSU and the Saints, man. He is just so knowledgeable, and man, I'm just so thankful that he was on this show with us today, man. And it was just great, great, great.
That was truly amazing in itself. You know what I'm saying? He's been doing this for a long, long time. Very respectable and big time props to him. I'm telling you one thing when I seen the post game after the LSU Florida game last, and I was telling you, Jared, to watch that. Him and T Bob was on 20 that
Yep,
night.
yep,
Epic.
Damn.
Oh my God. But at the same time, big time props to him. I wanted to tell him, but I know he had to go.
yep,
But he's overcome a lot of adversity in his career, you know, especially raising a son that has went through a lot of adversity through sickness and stuff. And he's doing pretty good, making a lot of progress with him and his son and everything. So it's a lot he deals with. And he's balancing that with his show and his brand. So
yep,
he's really doing some great, great things, and he inspires me as well because now he sees more than anything else that I got daddy duty too. So
yep.
thank goodness I take care of her, take care because my little girl's first day is tomorrow, so she's in the bed now getting ready. So at the same time, you know, but I give him a lot of props. He's very inspiring to all of us, and especially myself because I had to overcome a lot of adversity, especially to raise my kids. So, but big time props to him and a lot of knowledge, bro. And I ain't gonna lie, I'll take that criticism from him or Robin Fanbro any day because that's just me. I can
Good.
take it.
That's right. Take it.
That's
That's
right.
right. Take it.
Well, you know what would be the
Learn from it.
highlight though?
Mhm.
Go
You know
ahead.
what would be the highlight? And I won't announce it, but next Monday night, our guest, what if that guest clowns VK?
I
That
don't.
would be
I don't think he will. I don't think he
nah,
will. But if
I
that
hope
was to
not.
happen, oh my God.
Witness protection wouldn't be enough. But no, look,
Woo!
but and then Austin Tyler, was it Austin that said that VK wearing that hat too tight? I don't know.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I think it was Austin that
Yeah, it
said
was
that.
Austin. Austin said that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But no, my
I,
thoughts on Matt Moscona. Look, I've listened to his show. I'm a fan of what he does. I think he does really good work. And his perspective about the expansion of the play, not the playoff, the expansion of the super conferences, I'm still against it.
mhm.
And I get why it's done. But, the traditionalist in me is like, what sense does it make for a Pacific Coast team to play in the Big Ten? You've got Oregon, UCLA, USC. Who else? Washington, I think, is in the Big Ten.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
yeah.
know.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so that's four. And then you got Cal and Stanford, I think, went to the Big 12,
ACC. ACC.
ACC. But you got them two conferences in the Eastern time zone, and you're not kidding, Leo. Boy, that would not be a
Yo,
bad
yo, for
idea.
real. Yeah, Leo.
Bruh,
Yeah,
that'd be
Leo.
something. Maybe
Especially,
That
during the
yeah,
season.
especially after
mi-
VK just said you can't do his job, boy. Look at Leo. You gotta get T-Bob. Yeah,
Yeah,
Leo. I see you.
I like
it,
that. But
it,
no,
it,
I like what Matt says, and I don't want to say he's changed my mind. I mean, I'm 100% for the expanded playoff to 12 teams, but there's always going to be that when we get to when it comes time for the 12 teams to be picked, 13 is going to cry and say, "Man, we supposed to be there."
Joe,
And
you have 64 teams, just like the NCAA tournament. There's a team that's gonna sit there and say we should be there.
exactly. But with that being said, looking forward to college. You're not kidding. Looking forward to college football because to me, of all the fall sports, and everybody hypes on the NFL, and I get the NFL, but man, look, Saturdays. If my schedule wasn't so convoluted and everything, 8 a.m. college game day. Let's go. And especially with Pat McAfee on that show now. Except for
And
that stupid
Nick Saban.
and Nick. Yeah, that's going to be some interesting desk debates for sure
Yes.
and whatnot. And then of course the games, and then the adjustment that all of us are gonna have to make. We're so used to the SEC on CBS, it's no more. It is the Big Ten on CBS this year, and the SEC goes to ES. What's
And
that?
I'm still gonna watch it.
and hallelujah that the SEC is going to be on ESPN. I understand.
I like
no.
Gary and my boy.
I
like
think
Brian
Gary, I
Nessler,
think Gary, I think Brad Nessler and Vern Lundquist, they were awesome. Don't get me
Hall of
wrong.
Famers.
Their broadcasts were great. But my takeaway, there were so many good games. It should have been in no 2:30. It should have been 7 o'clock games.
They do that. They did some.
But only two a year.
Only twice a year they did double.
Only twice a
LSU
year.
Bama.
Exactly. And then I changed
not when Joe Burrow played and they beat him.
No,
that was a 2:30
that was the afternoon game. Yeah, it was 2:30 at Birmingham.
I never liked that. There's some matchups, yeah, you can put it at 2:30, but there's some deserve to be on a 7 o'clock slot. That's why I was like, the SEC getting that ESPN, awesome. But see, the thing that's gonna help with CBS with the Big Ten and everything else, okay, your game's gonna be at 2:30. Guess what? NBC gonna have the Saturday night Big Ten games.
No, they won't.
What? Yes,
they
are.
Won't.
Yes,
the Big Ten is on the CBS strictly, I think. I don't think NBC has
No, big on CBS,
commercials?
NBC, and Fox.
You missed them commercials, bro. They said they had the big old commercial said Saturday night Big Ten on NBC.
I got you.
Yeah,
because I thought Notre Dame was still with the NBC network
they
too.
Probably still is, but they added the Big Ten.
Okay, I didn't know that.
I think Big Ten is no longer with ESPN. SEC is ESPN full time, but Big Ten is CBS, NBC, and Fox. I think Fox got Big 12 also, and the Big 10. So yeah,
just the fact that college football is a couple of weeks out, man, who's not pumped? And I want to see what Georgia's going to be about because all the hype about them is real. Let's not fool ourselves. I mean, that team is depth personified. The thing I have is Carson Beck. Can he take that next step? This season. If he does, I'm not sure there's a team in the United States that could beat him in a 60-minute football game.
Yeah.
And then so many other subplots. I mean, Michigan is the reigning champions. They're not winning it this year. I don't think so. I love my Wolverines. Look, great year. They'll do great again. Why? Because Sharon Moore proved to everyone that doubted him in that 4-game stretch. And they won some big road games at Penn State, at Iowa. Granted, say what you want about those two teams, and that's not Michigan's fault. They won those games on the road. Happy Valley ain't easy to play. And Sharon Moore, new, minted head coach, they're going to do good things at Michigan. Will they beat Ohio State this year? I'll say this. I'm not the biggest fan of Will Howard, the quarterback at Ohio State from K-State. I'm not a big fan of him. I think that's an oversell. So maybe. But I think the team to fear in the Big Ten is Oregon. Oregon is going to be absolutely lights out. Yes, they will. Say what you want. Dan Lanning can coach. Dylan Gabriel is the quarterback. If that defense is anything close to competent, they're winning this Big Ten.
Okay. I'm going to stick with Ohio State and Michigan for right now.
I mean, they're the traditional ones.
But Oregon,
they are the teams.
Dylan Gabriel, man, is unbelievable.
And I really think Oregon could be that team as well, and a lot of it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen during the season. Like I said, Ole Miss could be one of them teams. That don't be surprised like these other teams. I'm gonna say the Tennessee Volunteers more than the Vanderbilt Commodores. That's going to maybe put some schedule. Matt, do you feel better, my brother? But at the same time, the Florida State Seminoles is going to be interesting for them coming up this year with some interesting.
Not according to Paul Feinbaum.
I'm not.
Your man Paul Feinbaum says they're going to stay.
I'm not worried about Paul Feinbaum. Paul
Neither me.
Feinbaum. Exactly. I ain't worried about him. I think Florida State is going to
He
be
ain't worried about
hungry.
y'all either.
I know he
Exactly.
ain't because he's making that paper.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
He is
but
bank account way better than ours.
I
Yeah.
think Florida State's gonna have a good year. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens for them. They're gonna come out real hungry and ready to roll. So we're gonna see what happens. It's gonna be
You,
tested early, interesting, and it's gonna be interesting that Florida State will be hosting Memphis this year, and that's gonna be interesting in
Me
itself.
too.
Mike Norvell coaching against his former team.
OT. Yes. Yep.
against his whole school.
Yep,
You
That's
know,
it.
that is interesting.
I found it amazing, Jared. James, Jared, I found it amazing when Matt was on that LSU was an underdog against Texas A&M. That kind of got me a little bit. I mean A&M is A&M, and they got a new coach, Mike Elko from Duke. I I don't know. I mean that game's at College Station, but LSU is an underdog in that game. I think they're
Texas
better.
Texas
I think
A&M
they
better
better
show me
too.
something. That's
I think
all
they
I
better
know.
too. I think they better also.
Yeah, it's a proving ground game
Have
for
to wait and
them.
see. Wait and see what happens. That's a wait and see
Yeah.
game, but
Yep.
we'll see. So we got to close out the show, fellas. Um, Tomorrow we're back, and we're back to the high school prep previews. We're gonna preview Central Louisiana area, like Alexandria. We're gonna have the one and only from Sinler Sports, Lamar Gafford. And then we're back here on Thursday also. And Thursday, we're going to preview the Shreveport area. And we're going to have Mr. Jimmy Watson from the Shreveport Times. He's going to join us. And I'm just trying to see. I'm trying to see. Here we go. I got it. All right. Yes, Jimmy Watson's going to join us first at 7 o'clock. And then we're going to talk about the Bayou area after Jimmy Watson with Chris Singleton. So tomorrow, Lamar Gafford. Thursday, Jimmy Watson and Chris Singleton as we give you prep football preview throughout the state of Louisiana. VK, any last words before we get out of here?
Man, this was a really good show tonight, man. You know, I hope we get the invitation to go on after further review sooner or later. You know what I'm saying? You know, we might have to take that ride to Baton Rouge or it might be virtual, either way. But we're looking forward to doing some bigger, better things with Matt. And at the same time, you know, it's good to have him on the show and his audience joining us and everything else, man. But man, this was a really good show despite the stuff I took tonight. So I love it. I love what I do. And it's good to be with you guys. We're looking forward to 3 weeks away for the Hash It Out show. Game of the week. And look at this here. Leo Pollard has been on one all night.
I like the money sign at the end though. Look, Leo, I gotta show these boys what handsome means. I gotta show them what handsome means. I'm the ravishing Rick Rude of the Hash It Out show. Isn't that right, VK? No, I'm kidding. But might as well interject. Look, this was a great show tonight. Every show we do together is a great show. And, you know, 2 in a row, VK. Who's going to get you next? I don't know, man. Robin Fambro, Hall of Famer. Matt Moscona, future Hall of Famer. I mean, broadcasting and hosting and all that. You know, I'm just kidding when I say this, but we that's what we give you on the Hash It Out show, guys. We give you perspective. We give you opinions. Now, to the guy to my top left and me, we're not going to shield for Vanderbilt. You know, exactly. Patrick Taylor, y'all pay attention. I'm on this year. Um, but you know, we're not going to shield for Vanderbilt and whatnot. You know, I've seen projections where they'll win 2, maybe 3 games. But that being said, I'm looking forward to talking about the Central Louisiana area, an area I covered for the time I was up there for 12 years. So I kind of know a little bit about that area. And is there a Senlot team that can make a dome run this year? Huh? Maybe. We'll see. I mean, we're gonna have to look. But you know, Lamar Gafford, who's a great friend of us, is gonna be with us tomorrow night. I'm so much looking. What do you call him? Prime time?
Prime
Yes.
time Lamar Gafford. Yep,
Prime time Lamar Gafford.
that's
I don't
right.
know if he's channeling his inner Florida State fandom or Deion Sanders or whatnot. Yeah, okay, Kenny, I hear you. But Hopefully by Thursday. But Thursday we have that luncheon we're going to on Thursday, the preseason luncheon at the Quarter View.
You going to?
That's going to be a great. Yeah, I'm going to be there. I took annual, so I'll be there. So the hashtag on show will show up in droves. The three of us, we'll be there. So just loosen the hat up, VK, when you go over.
Long as nothing crazy happens at work, I'll be there.
Oh, there you go. I mean, I took annual, so I mean, I know, I hear you. But no, it's a great show tonight as always. But every show we do together is great, and we just continue to grow and continue to grow. And the games that we have it slotted for this year, we can't wait to announce. And I think we're going to be very close to it, either by the end of this week or early next week. We'll get to announce it.
We can announce a couple that we have.
We can. We actually have two that are on lock that we can give you. But do you want to wait till we get the preponderance of the schedule?
I'm gonna let VK announce the ones we have so far.
Let's give it some right here.
Leo Pollard. No, we don't have Shaw Carr. Shaw has a contract with VSN. So no, we don't have Shaw Carr, but I will tell you, we are working to try get at least one or two Shaw away games. So we're trying.
Stay tuned.
Not set in stone yet, but we're trying. But VK, go ahead, man.
The two games that we have locked down, we're hoping to get week 1 and 2, but we're hoping to get that done by Thursday. Week number 5 is locked down. It will be the Battle of Tangible Hall Parish between A-Meet and Kentwood. It will be at A-Meet this year in A-Meet City. We will be out there for that game. It should be a big one there between those two rivals. And there's always a good game always a good game every year. And at the same time, for the first time in a long time, they're getting the plug that they deserve. So that will be one of our big games of week number 5, and that's Kentwood and A-Meet. And we have week number 8. Week number 8 will be the St. Charles Catholic Comets traveling to the Cage to take on the Belle Chase Cardinals. That will be a very good one. That's week number 8. We will have that for you as well. And we're looking forward to bring you some more announcements for our games this year. I know Jared's trying to get one locked. I'm trying to get as many as possible. And hopefully by Thursday, we'll have the majority. So we'll see what happens then. But
don't worry, we're going to have all 10 locked up. Don't worry about that. Yes. We will have everyone locked
up. Confidence, boys. Confidence.
Yes. Yeah, we're going to have it locked up. Yeah.
Yeah, we good.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Definitely. And Leo, thank you very much. Yeah. We are, when the thing about it, we studied very, very hard and looked at the matchups and also looked at a lot of networks and everything else to make sure we get not just the right matchup, but hopefully all the logistics can fit to where we can do what we have to do with it.
That's right. Like you said, by Thursday, we'll get a better idea on other stuff. Still waiting for your view to put out their schedule so we can know what games they have. And then once your view put out the schedule, we good to go, pretty much. But anyway, guys, that is it for this show. We got to get ready for work in the morning and tomorrow's show as we come back. So, for VK Jones, for George Peppers, I am JB, the sports guy. We will see you right back here tomorrow at 7:30. Make sure you tell all your friends, your family members, tell everybody to tune into the Hash It Out show. Y'all take care.
Welcome to Bayou AV Security. My name is Rusty Mathern, proud owner and operator. We specialize in providing top-notch audio solutions, advanced security cameras, reliable internet services, and stunning permanent holiday lighting. At Bayou AV Security, we are your one-stop shop for all your needs, whether it's enhancing your home entertainment system, securing your property, ensuring a seamless internet connection, or illuminating your outdoor spaces. We've got you covered. We are locally owned and conveniently located on the West Bank. As a fully licensed business, we take pride in delivering quality service you can trust. You can see our exceptional work showcased in the Parade of Homes. Experience the Bayou difference firsthand. Bayou AV Security, where technology meets reliability. Call us today to experience the Bayou difference.